Locked up for life, what happens inside a maximum security cell? Don't miss out on more true crime stories. Hit subscribe, like, share, and join the conversation in the comments. The metallic clink of the cell door echoed down the concrete hallway like a final heartbeat. Guards stood frozen, staring through the small glass window at the chaos inside. Inmates were shouting, fists pounded on steel, and one man, Larry Hoover, stood in the center of it all, silent, unmoving, his orange jumpsuit streaked with sweat. It wasn't a riot, not exactly. It was something quieter, heavier. Word had spread. Hoover, one of the most powerful inmates in American prison history, had just learned he would never walk free again. Moments earlier, a correctional officer had slid a thin envelope under his cell door. Inside were the results of his final appeal, denied. A lifetime in a 7 by 12-foot cell, alone, in one of the most secure facilities in the United States, the United States Penitentiary Administrative Maximum Facility, or ADX Florence, the Alcatraz of the Rockies. When guards opened the door to escort him for his 1-hour exercise, Hoover refused to move. "Ain't nothing left to walk for," he muttered. Then came the silence that sent shivers down the corridor, the kind that made even the most hardened officers uneasy. But what no one knew in that moment was that this wasn't just about one man. Hoover's story was the center of a decades-long war between law enforcement and one of the most powerful street organizations in America, the Gangster Disciples. His imprisonment was meant to stop it all. But inside those concrete walls, the story of control, loyalty, and manipulation had only just begun. The year was 1997. Hoover had already been serving time since the 70s for murder. Over the years, he had built an empire from inside prison walls, transforming his gang into a national organization that reached far beyond Chicago. Officials believed that even from his cell, he was still giving orders, encrypted messages that flowed from prison payphones to the streets. As prison staff tried to break those chains of influence, the environment inside Florence ADX became something out of a psychological thriller. Total isolation. 23 hours a day locked inside concrete. A single narrow window showing nothing but sky. Every sound amplified. Footsteps, doors slamming, the humming buzz of surveillance cameras. For some inmates, the silence itself became unbearable. But for Hoover, silence was power. "Even locked away, I'm still heard," he once said to a visitor. That night, a new message would reach the outside world, one that would make federal officials realize they hadn't contained the danger at all. Something had leaked from within the most secure prison in America, and by the next morning, everyone from guards to the FBI would be asking the same question. How can someone be locked up for life and still control the streets? The morning after the envelope arrived, the control room at ADX Florence buzzed with urgency. A coded message had surfaced on a Chicago payphone line, traced back to one of Hoover's known associates. The tone, the phrasing, the word growth repeated 3 times. It was unmistakably his. Agents had spent years studying his speech patterns, and they knew the message didn't come by accident. Someone, somehow, had managed to move his words past steel doors, cameras, and isolation. FBI agents arrived within hours. They poured through surveillance footage, phone logs, and every piece of outgoing mail. Nothing. No guard had broken protocol. No visitor had slipped a note. Still, they knew something was wrong, and it wasn't the first time. This facility was supposed to be escape-proof, communication-proof, and silence-proof. Yet, whispers of Hoover's orders kept appearing like smoke through cracks. Meanwhile, in Chicago, life on the streets seemed eerily coordinated. Arrest reports described younger members of Hoover's organization using phrases only he had ever said. Some even claimed to be still following the chairman. The prison might have held his body, but the power of his name moved like electricity through the neighborhoods he once ruled. Inside ADX, the silence weighed heavy. Hoover's daily life was an endless loop. Breakfast tray through a slot at 5:30 a.m., a cold shower in a steel cubicle, then hours of pacing between gray walls. His recreation time was in a concrete pit the size of a garage, open only to the sky, a reminder of freedom just out of reach. Yet, despite the monotony, Guards said he carried himself with composure, like a man who still believed he was running something larger than his cell. Journalists began asking questions. Was ADX really in control? How could someone in a supermax still reach beyond the walls? Federal officials doubled down, restricting Hoover's access, cutting communication lines, isolating him further. But behind the scenes, the Department of Justice was divided. Some saw him as a dangerous symbol who needed to disappear from public consciousness. Others believed keeping him visible, even in isolation, helped maintain stability on the streets. In 2000, the Bureau of Prisons launched an internal audit. It revealed something stunning. Several inmates, spread across different cell blocks, were all writing letters using identical coded patterns, a mix of biblical phrases and corporate language. Every message, when decoded, pointed back to one origin: Chairman Hoover. For investigators, this was the breaking point. What they uncovered next would shake their belief in what maximum security really meant. Hoover's influence had not escaped by accident. It had evolved. And the proof of that evolution was about to surface, hidden in a place no one had dared to check, inside the very system built to contain him. The investigation team moved quietly through the reinforced corridors of ADX Florence, armed not with weapons, but with laptops and wire detectors. What they were searching for wasn't contraband or written notes. It was communication, invisible and digital. One IT specialist traced a pattern that made everyone in the control room pause. Hoover's messages weren't leaving through mail or visitors. They were traveling through the prison's own legal mail network, a loophole designed to protect inmate rights. Legal correspondence, by law, couldn't be opened or read by guards. Someone had found a way to hide coded instructions within those letters, disguised as attorney communication. The deeper the agents dug, the clearer the picture became. Every few weeks, Hoover would meet with a paralegal representing a law office registered under a shell name. The visits seemed legitimate on paper, but surveillance footage revealed the same woman visiting multiple inmates linked to the same organization. Each time, she carried out thin folders, documents stamped with legal confidentiality. When the FBI raided the supposed law office in Chicago, they found encrypted letters, each written in Hoover's careful tone, references to growth, direction, and structure. To anyone else, they read like motivational speeches. To those who knew the code, they were orders. His leadership had survived through the very system meant to keep him silent. Inside ADX, Hoover didn't resist when he was confronted. He simply leaned back in his metal chair, a calm look in his eyes. "You can cage a man," he said, "but not his mind." The line would later echo in newspapers across the country. In the months that followed, restrictions tightened even further. Hoover was moved into what inmates called the box within the box, near total isolation. His limited privileges were stripped away: no visitors, no phone calls, no communal exercise. He became a ghost inside concrete, monitored 24 hours a day. Yet even then, stories spread. Former guards told journalists that whenever Hoover was transferred between wings, inmates would go completely silent. Some would press their hands to their cell windows as he passed, a gesture of quiet respect, or perhaps defiance. By 2021, petitions began to surface, calling for his release. Supporters argued that after decades in isolation, his mind and health had deteriorated. Others believed letting him out, even now, could reignite old fires. The government denied every request. The man who once commanded an empire of thousands would spend his remaining days in a 12-foot room with nothing but a slit of sky. For the world outside, the story became a study in power. How it can be born from fear, fueled by loyalty, and sustained even in silence. And somewhere deep inside the Rockies, behind layers of locked steel and blue-gray concrete, Larry Hoover sat motionless, the cell lights flickering above him.
He didn't speak. He didn't write.
But in the stillness, the echo of his name was still alive, proof that some legacies don't need freedom to survive.